We have a major Miami Heat trade report, and this is absolutely insane. As the Miami Heat are looking to add more talent to this roster as they try to build a championship contender, and do have trade pieces throughout the roster that they can use in order to do so, with both tradable contracts and talented players as well on this roster. And now a new report has surfaced surrounding the Miami Heat on a way to make a trade for a player who is guaranteed to be getting moved at some point over the next year, will be changing teams 100%. And with all that happening, the Miami Heat have found themselves at the forefront of this, as they are known to be looking to add more talent to the roster, and this is definitely an easy way to add some more talent. And we're going to dive into all of that, plus much more, on if it's a good move, all the implications that it has, if this is a move the Heat should do, if they should move forwards with this, or look towards a different type of player, and we are going to discuss all of that. But before we do that, guys, if you're part of that 79% that's not subscribed to Miami Heat Digest, make sure to subscribe for daily Heat updates. We have a bunch of great videos for you coming out every single day that you do not want to miss out on. Obviously, this part of the NBA season can get a little slow, but there is still some stuff going on with the Miami Heat that you want to stay tuned for. So make sure to be subscribed, have those post notifications on, and let's jump into some Miami Heat news. As we know, the Miami Heat have found themselves in a situation where, despite having a good roster, it's not necessarily great. Do the Heat have a best player on a championship caliber type, or do they have a team that, or basically, do they have the best player on a championship caliber type of guy? And the answer is no, they don't. I mean, look, Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo are both great. There's a reason why they're all-star level talented in a league where we're seeing you don't necessarily need that upper echelon top 5 superstar type of player to win an NBA Finals. I'm not saying anything negatively about Shea, but we did see Tyrese Halliburton, make the NBA Finals as someone who I don't think any of us would classify as a top 5 player in the NBA. I don't know how many people would classify Jason Tatum as a top 5 player in the NBA. I know I certainly wouldn't. I think he's fringe top 10. And before that, we go to obviously where Jokic and Steph Curry were both there, two of the best players in the NBA, especially at the time, and Jokic still is. But when it comes down to it, also nothing against Steph Curry. He absolutely is still part of that as well. But with the Miami Heat, they need to add some more talent to this roster in the form of a true star player. When Jimmy Butler was there, it felt like there was that type of star who would be able to lead Miami to the promised land. But right now with Bam and Hero, it feels like there's two guys who are really a 2 and a 3, but there's not really that number one guy. But the Heat have the assets. They have draft picks. They have that tradable Andrew Wiggins contract. They have that tradable Terry Rozier contract. There's ways to make this happen. They have assets in Kel'el Ware and Nikola Jovic. And with all this happening, we have seen a new trade report emerge in regards to a situation where the Bulls are receiving Nikola Jokic and Simone Fontecchio in exchange for Coby White. Now, obviously, this is a trade that would shake up the Miami Heat and the Chicago Bulls and just the Eastern Conference in its entirety. And that's for a multitude of different reasons. When you look at a guy in Coby White, what we see is a very talented scorer who has shown a lot of upside throughout his NBA career, but was always overshadowed by guys like DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. However, after they left, Coby White started to really, really shine with the Chicago Bulls. I mean, he put up 24.5 points per game after the All-Star break when LaVine was gone, and shot 63.4 with true shooting, with a near 50% mark from the field, a 37% mark from 3, and also put up 24.5 points per game. We saw White shoot the ball more, and we saw him have a lot of success. Now, this whole thing was discussed by Zach Buckley of Bleacher Report, talking about the situation, saying that prior to the additions of Buzelis and Noah Essengay, Coby White arguably looked like Chicago's most promising building block. Yet the 25-year-old no longer seems cemented into the long-term plans, due in no small part to the fact that unrestricted free agency awaits for him after the upcoming season. And on top of that, maybe that motivates the Bulls brass to get something for Coby White now and not risk losing him for nothing later. They could be getting quite a bit here, as Nikola Jovic has flashed a really interesting mix of size, shot making, and ball handling, and Fontecchio holds an obvious bounce back potential after losing more than 6 points off his 3-point percentage in the last season when he dropped from 40.1 to 33.5. So obviously we could see that as well. Meanwhile, there are a few guys on this team who will need to get paid. Considering one of them is Nikola Jovic, this is where things start to make sense, as Buckley highlights that meanwhile, Miami might balk at covering the cost of Jovic's next contract. He'll be a restricted free agent if he isn't extended by October 20th, particularly if it plans on starting Kel'el Ware alongside Bam Adebayo again. The Heat had an opportunistic offseason, but they could still use that kind of on-ball creation that Coby White brings. Now, on the season, Coby White did put up 20 points per game, 3.7 rebounds, and 4.5 assists, shooting 45% from the field and 37% from three. So the question is, will Coby White be able to really stick to these numbers, or are we going to see what he put out throughout the entire season? Is he going to stay that guy? That's a big part of things here, because when we look at Coby White, we see someone who went out there and put up great numbers once he became that first option. First of all, he wouldn't be the first option on any real contending team whatsoever, and that includes the Heat. He wouldn't even be the first scoring option out of their guards with Tyler Hero on the squad. So White already brings that, and then you do have two combo guard scoring first guys on your roster in your backcourt, which I don't really love the fit of, if I'm being honest. I don't think that really works too well in the modern NBA. I think it's one of the reasons why the Cleveland Cavaliers have struggled over the past couple of years is that Garland and Donovan Mitchell don't exactly fit together. I never thought Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum necessarily fit together greatly either, which is another thing to also consider here. So this is a formula that we really haven't seen work in the modern NBA anytime recently, and I don't love the fit, if I'm being honest. And also then the Bulls, they have to deal with Nikola Jovic's extension, while the Heat, they have to deal with Coby White's extension. I mean, we look at the numbers that Coby White has put up, they're great, but he also is due for an extension, and it would have to be a lot of money. It really would be. So we'd have to consider how much are we willing to give to Coby White in this situation, because you don't just trade Nikola Jovic and then not extend Coby White. That's a waste of a beautiful asset in Nikola Jovic, making things even tougher when we consider all that intangible stuff that's involved in all these trades, specifically Jovic, who we just saw ball out in Serbia. I mean, he put up 18 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, got a steal, and shot 75% from the field and from three on decent volume, and also was a plus 36 for Serbia. So we see a guy who's absolutely balling out right now overseas, and usually when those overseas guys come back, they play better. I've talked about this in the most recent video I did on the channel. I believe so much in Nikola Jovic. I think this trade would be risky. Now, yeah, you get off of Simone Fontecchio, who had 0 points and was 0 for 6 from the field in the first half of his game in the Greece versus Italy game that was still close despite the lack of Fontecchio putting up points because Nicolo Melli was cooking. But shout out to Nicolo Melli. But when it comes down to it, I really don't see this as a great move for the Miami Heat whatsoever. It feels like a way to give up Jovic in a trade where you could give up Jovic for more if he's not a part of the long-term future. And on top of that, at the same time, we also then see Simone Fontecchio get moved, and I think that Fontecchio's value will go up later on, or you could use the contract in a better deal. I don't like this deal personally. I don't think it makes a ton of sense for the Miami Heat personnel-wise. Yeah, you get another lead guard, which is going to be huge, but I'd rather more of a playmaker than another scorer. Personally, I think that makes a whole lot more sense for this team going forwards. And guys, frankly, I just want to see them swing a little bit bigger than Coby White if it's going to be a move. I expect Pat Riley to go all out as he usually does. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day. I will catch you later.